I saved every penny for my wife's dream cafe. On opening day, I found a sign on the door, new owner. Grand opening under new management. It was my brother's name. She stood next to him smiling. He believed in me, you just funded it. I didn't say a word. I just walked away. 2 years later, that sign's gone. And my inbox? Flooded. I walked into the cafe I funded from the ground up, $86,000 of my life savings, 7 years of shared spreadsheets and espresso machine YouTube reviews, and there it was, a new sign bolted to the door. Gold leaf lettering. Same name. Different words beneath. Under new ownership. Grand reopening. And right underneath it? My brother's name. And next to him? My wife, Kira. Wearing the exact sundress she said she didn't feel cute enough to wear for our launch. Smiling. Laughing. Holding giant scissors like she was cutting the ribbon on my lungs. She didn't even flinch when she saw me standing there. She just looked me dead in the eye and said, "He believed in me. You just funded it. That was it. No apology. No explanation. Not even guilt." I didn't yell. Didn't break anything. I just turned around and walked away. But this isn't the story of a broken man. This is the story of what happened after. Because now that sign's gone. And my inbox is full. Let me take you back. Kira and I met during one of those late community college night classes, the kind full of people who either had a dream or had nothing left to lose. She had both. Wanted to open a cafe/bakery that felt like an old Paris postcard. Every conversation we had somehow circled back to coffee beans or tile work. And I was stupid in love. She had a fire. I had stability. I paid for her business courses, helped her with the licensing forms, even picked up side jobs to max out our down payment fund. Every birthday, every Christmas, every bonus, straight into the cafe jar. It wasn't even a secret. I literally labeled the jar. It sat in the center of our kitchen like a shrine. We got married 3 years in. Small ceremony. She wore yellow. Said white didn't feel true to her. In hindsight, I should have clocked how symbolic that was. My brother Nolan was my best man. He gave a toast about loyalty and roots. The irony of that speech still tastes like betrayal. Opening day was supposed to be last May. We signed a lease on a sweet corner lot downtown. I put in vacation time. Helped haul espresso machines, painted the damn walls myself. But then 3 days before launch, Kira said she wanted to delay. Said the supplier botched the pastry case. Said it didn't feel ready. I didn't argue. I never did. I just nodded, grabbed us takeout and said we'd relaunch soon. Then she ghosted me for 4 straight days. Wouldn't pick up. Wouldn't text. Came home once to grab her charger and told me to stop hovering. I thought she was overwhelmed. I blamed stress. It didn't occur to me that my brother hadn't returned my calls either. Not until I saw the sign. Not until I saw her grinning in a photo beside him. What hit me hardest wasn't the betrayal. It was how coordinated it all was. My brother Nolan had worked at a marketing firm for years. He knew branding. He knew contracts. He knew how to run ads and grease palms and fill a launch party with influencers instead of friends. And I told him everything. Every vulnerability. Every late-night argument. Every time Kira and I disagreed on the cafe's concept. He played supportive, sent me memes, told me, "You got this, bro." Meanwhile, he was building her up. While using my money. Turns out the LLC paperwork never had my name on it. Just hers. She told me she accidentally filed it that way during the pre-launch chaos. I bought it. God, I bought it. I'm the kind of idiot who double-checks other people's emails but not the fine print on my own damn dreams. And the worst part? They were good at it. The cafe blew up. They had a viral TikTok within a week. Photos of Kira, Nolan, and pastel croissants dripping with gold dust. No mention of me. No hint that the guy who paid for the marble countertops was eating microwaved ramen in a studio apartment 5 blocks away. I didn't show up to confront them. I didn't throw a brick through the window. I did what I do best. I vanished. That was 2 years ago. No contact. No retaliation. Just silence. I moved out. Sold my car. Took a job 2 counties over. I worked nights and slept in a rental above a laundromat that always smelled like bleach and heartbreak. They never reached out. They didn't need to. The cafe got press. Local awards. Kira started giving interviews. Female Entrepreneur of the Year. Nolan stood behind her like some trophy husband with better eyebrows. I watched from afar. Burned screenshots into my skull. Built something colder than anger. A plan. I started reading. Quietly. Patiently. Learned about debt acquisition. Business liens. Licensing infractions. Ghost investors. Local taxes. Permit compliance. I became the most dangerous thing you can make out of a heartbroken man. Informed. I watched and waited. Waited for them to get comfortable. Waited for them to slip. They did. Last summer, the cafe switched hands again. New logo. Same spot. But the vibe was different. Less charm. More chain. They'd sold it. Word on Reddit was that a health inspection dinged them hard. Something about unrefrigerated dairy. A pastry influencer tweeted a scathing review. The empire cracked. And now I'm getting emails. Kira. Nolan, their lawyer, even some former vendors. And all of them want the same thing, to talk. Because apparently the new owner they sold to, the one who paid cash, wants out. Says the numbers never added up. Says he was lied to. And guess who he's threatening to sue? The woman who claimed the original funding came from a small family inheritance. And the man who co-signed the sale agreement without reading the clawback clause. You know what's wild? They CC'd me by mistake on one of the emails. Didn't even realize I was still using the same Gmail. And that's when it hit me. They're panicking. They think I might have the receipts. They think I might talk. They're right. But I'm not gonna just reply. I'm gonna make them come to me. Crawling. Date 1. They called me 17 times in 2 days. First it was Nolan. I let it ring out every time. He left voicemails like he was a kid caught cheating on a group project. All bluster and no detail. Hey man, can we talk? It's not what it looks like. Except I knew exactly what it looked like. Then it was Kira. She only left one message. You were right. That's all I'll say on voicemail. Please, just call me back. I didn't, because I knew what was really happening. I'd been following their paper trail for months. The cafe sale wasn't clean. The new owner, someone named Chase Dougal, wasn't just some rich fail-son looking for a passion project. He was a money guy, and money guys do due diligence eventually. Turns out Kira and Nolan had inflated their net margins by around 37% in their sale pitch. Said they had consistent foot traffic and recurring bulk orders from 2 local businesses that, guess what, never existed. They even forged a vendor contract. You know who used to manage the books? Me. Before the betrayal. Before the ownership magically became hers. I'd built that ledger from scratch. And when they locked me out of the financial software, I downloaded every backup I had. I didn't even know why, back then. Just muscle memory. Like grabbing your coat before stepping into a blizzard. Now, that backup? It's leverage. Chase emailed me directly. Subject: clarification request. Café ledger. Short: professional. Too polite to be innocent. He asked if I had any insight into the early capital structure of the business. I didn't respond. Instead, I made a folder. Labeled it Salt. Dropped in the PDFs. Scanned receipts. The wire transfer logs. My savings account plummeting in neat $5,000 chunks. Every Home Depot receipt with my name on it. And then I added the kicker. A video. One Kira took during the early construction phase. She was half drunk on boxed wine, spinning around the gutted cafe space. Said, "Here's my sexy husband, funding our future. Say hi, investor man." I smiled in the clip. I look like a man who still believed in things. Chase called me next. This time I answered. "I'm not here to mediate your buyer's remorse," I said. "You bought a fantasy. You bought a TikTok filter. You didn't buy a business." He was quiet for a second. Then, "Do you want in on the lawsuit?" I laughed. I told him I didn't need to sue. I was already patient zero in their plague. All I wanted was to watch it spread. 3 days later, I was at a local networking event. Not my usual scene, but I'd been consulting quietly for a few food truck startups. Word gets around. A guy with receipts and no mercy? People want that guy in their corner. That's when I saw her. Kira. She looked like she hadn't slept. Her lipstick was off. Dress sharp but wrinkled at the hem, like she got changed in a parking lot. She didn't see me right away, but when she did, she froze, like someone stunned by the chaos they created. She approached slow, like I might disappear. "Can we talk?" I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just walked toward the bar. She followed. We sat. She tried to start with small talk. I let her waste a full minute pretending to care about my hair or my work or whatever script she'd preloaded. Then I cut her off. "What does Chase know?" She blinked. Realized I wasn't playing. "A lot," she said. "But not everything. Not yet." I tilted my head. "And you're hoping I'll keep it that way?" Her jaw tightened. "I'm hoping you still care enough not to destroy us." "Us?" "Me and Nolan." I actually laughed. Out loud. Drew a few stairs. "Us died the second you opened that cafe without me. You killed it with scissors and a smile." She flinched. I said nothing. Then she dropped it. The real ask. "Can you help us fix it?" I leaned in. "You mean, can I help the woman who stole my dream and the brother who helped her run off with it? You want me to plug the holes in your fraud boat?" She didn't say anything. I kept going. "You lied. You stole. You humiliated me. And now that the foundation's cracked, you want the guy you buried under it to come patch it." Silence. I grabbed my drink. Finished it. Then I whispered something I'd been waiting years to say. Let it rot. Then I stood and left her at that bar. Frozen. Humiliated. Alone. I got a text from Nolan the next day. All it said was, "She's pregnant." I didn't reply, because I already knew. She wasn't just trying to save the cafe. She was trying to save her alibi. And the thing about building your life out of lies? Eventually, the truth gets bored of waiting, and it kicks the door in. Update 2. They showed up at my apartment last night. Not a text. Not an email. Not a call. A knock. First soft. Then frantic. I looked through the peephole and there they were. Nolan and Kira. Side by side. Like a parody of their own betrayal. Like the ghosts of my future if I'd stayed quiet. She had on a hoodie. Too big for her. No makeup. Hair frizzed out. Nolan looked like someone had punched him in the soul. Bags under his eyes. Jaw twitching like it was trying to clench its way out of his face. I didn't open the door. I just stood there. Watched them squirm. Eventually, Nolan said through the door, "We're getting sued. You happy?" I didn't answer. Kira leaned in. Whispered something I couldn't make out. Then louder. "Please. We can't lose everything." That word again. They really believed in that fantasy. Like if they said we enough, I'd forget what they did. I walked back to my kitchen. Made tea. Let them knock. Eventually, they left. I checked the security cam on my building's entrance. They stood outside for 17 minutes after. Arguing. He shoved her shoulder at one point. She slapped his chest. Then they left in silence. Good. Later that night, Chase texted me again. Said their new attorney had officially subpoenaed all financial records tied to the Café's LLC for the discovery phase. Said if I had anything else of interest, now would be the time. I sent him a Dropbox link. Labeled, "Proof and Servant." Inside, everything I hadn't shown him yet. The emails between Nolan and Kira. I'd hacked Nolan's iCloud months ago. He never changed his password. Still used our childhood dog's name plus his football jersey number. Their email thread was titled, Alt Plan. In it, they literally mapped out what to say if I got difficult. Kira wrote, "He won't fight. He shuts down. Always has." She was right. Back then, they had versions of the truth ready. Versions they could weaponize. She even suggested telling people I'd agreed to be a silent partner. For his mental health. Nolan replied, "He's too passive to stop us. And if he ever tries, we'll bury him in the narrative. He won't survive the PR." I included those. I also included audio. One clip from the night before launch. I'd left my phone recording on the counter when I ran out to grab pizza. Kira and Nolan didn't know. They were testing espresso shots. Laughing. At me. Nolan said, "He thinks this is his place. Poor guy doesn't realize we're just waiting for the ink to dry." Kira laughed. "He's funding the wedding I never wanted and the cafe I actually do. Two birds. One dumb guy." The last line? Burned into me. You know the best part? I never even liked his coffee. That one hurt. I spent months blending roasts. She called them notes of home. Guess she meant someone else's home. This morning, Chase replied to the Dropbox. "That will do nicely. Short, precise, as cold." He attached a PDF of the amended complaint. Nolan and Kira were now named co-defendants. Intentional misrepresentation. Breach of contract. Fraudulent inducement. Chase was seeking not just restitution, but punitive damages. And guess who gets called as the primary witness? Yours truly. Kira emailed me 3 hours later. Subject, "Please, body, you win. You're better than us. Can you just not ruin the baby's life?" I didn't respond, because if she was really worried about her kid's life, she wouldn't have made me fund a lie. She wouldn't have stolen my future to build her brand. She wouldn't have gambled it all on thinking I'd stay passive forever. Here's the part one haven't told you. A month ago, I bought the building, the cafe. Chase sold it at a loss once the lawsuit paperwork landed. Didn't want the heat. Didn't want to go down with them. I bought it through a holding company. Transferred the deed yesterday. They don't know yet. But they will. Because the new sign just went up this morning. Same name. Just a new tagline underneath. Reclaimed. Opening soon. And the first drink on the menu? It's called Closure. Black coffee. No sugar. No cream. Just bitter. And earned. Update 3. I opened the cafe this morning. 6:45 a.m. sharp. No ribbon. No fanfare. Just me, the new barista. I hired Cal, a guy who got fired last year for calling out a Yelp Elite customer, and 2 dozen chairs that still smelled like fresh varnish. We hung a little chalkboard sign near the register. Soft launch. Please be patient. This place is still healing. I meant it. I hadn't slept the night before. Not from anxiety. Just adrenaline. I kept walking the floor, touching the countertop I picked out 3 years ago, running my hand along the tile Nolan and I installed together when we were still brothers. Everything looked the same, but none of it felt the same. The lighting hit different. The air moved weird. Like the space remembered everything. Like the walls were waiting to see what I'd do with the ghost of what they built. At 7:05, the door chimed. First customer. A middle-aged woman in scrubs. Said she remembered this place from back when it was run by that Instagram couple. I smiled. Said we'd be doing things differently now. She ordered a cappuccino and sat down with her earbuds in. A good omen. At 7:13, the door chimed again. And again. And again. By 9:30 a.m., we were full. By noon, the line was out the door. Someone posted a photo of the chalkboard sign. It hit a few local subreddits. Went a little viral. The comments? Full of people who remembered the last owners. Full of people who'd heard something went down. Full of people rooting for the new guy. Me. I stepped into the back room to breathe for a second. That's when my phone buzzed. Nolan. Text message. One sentence. You bought it. I didn't reply. A minute later, another buzz. Kira. What do you want from us? And that was the moment. The moment I realized. They still didn't get it. They thought this was about revenge. About winning. About getting something from them. But it never was. This whole time, I didn't want anything from them. I wanted everything away from them. Their fingerprints. Their shadows. Their narratives. This cafe wasn't revenge. It was closure. For everything they buried me under. And now? Now it's mine. At 3:04 p.m. Kira walked in. Alone. No makeup. No smile. Wearing sunglasses indoors like a washed-out celebrity. She didn't order anything. Just stood by the counter. Waiting. I didn't make a scene. Didn't yell. Didn't ask her to leave. I poured a cup of coffee. No sugar. No cream. Set it in front of her. This one's on the house, I said. Call it severance. She didn't touch it. Just stared at me. Eyes red. Jaw trembling. You really hate me that much, she said. No, I said. If I hated you, I'd have left your name on the wall. Let you haunt the place. She looked around. Realized the mural she'd commissioned, the one of her and Nolan in vintage barista outfits, was gone. Painted over. I replaced it with a quote. For myself. This place was built from broken trust. Come taste the rebuild. She walked out without another word. Left the coffee untouched. It stayed hot for exactly 27 minutes before I dumped it out. Felt fitting. Nolan showed up around 6. Didn't come inside. Just stood across the street. Arms crossed. Watching. I sat at the window and sipped my own drink. Raised the cup once. A salute. He turned and walked away. Haven't heard from him since. The lawsuit? Still ongoing. But Chase is good at his job. His lawyers are better. And with the Dropbox I gave them, it's not even a matter of if anymore. Just how much. They'll settle. They'll bleed. Quietly. Privately. The way people like that always do once they lose the spotlight. Last week, I hired an assistant manager. Her name's Sonia. Single mom. Got fired from her last job for confronting a customer who tried to film her crying. I gave her a key. Told her the same thing I tell every employee who walks through that door. This place isn't perfect. But it's honest. If you show up with your scars, we'll show up with caffeine. She cried in the walk-in freezer for 5 minutes after. I didn't ask why. Didn't need to. We all have our reasons. So yeah, that's the end of the story. Or maybe the start of a better one. Depends on how you measure survival. People keep asking if I'll ever forgive them. If I'll ever talk to Kira or Nolan again. I won't. Not because I'm bitter. But because some bridges aren't burned. They were never built right to begin with. I just finally stopped trying to cross them. Final note. The last drink on our secret menu? It's called The Inheritance. It's made with 3 espresso shots, a dash of cayenne, and just enough honey to confuse you. Served in a cup lined with receipts. Because if I've learned anything, it's that nothing tastes sweeter than proof.